Hello and welcome to the Daily Brief. I'm your host, the Mexican Conservative. Today, it's going to be a brief little talk about something that popped up in the news today, or at least recently for me. That Mississippi has passed the strictest abortion law in the country. Now, as someone who has a conservative mindset, for the most part I'm against abortion. Except when it comes into where the mother could die, or incest and rape. I believe in incest and rape cases, then it's different. Okay, you should have a little bit of leeway there for the person to be like, I don't want to have my father's baby, which would be perfectly reasonable. I wouldn't see why that would be unreasonable. But apparently they're saying that in Mississippi they said there's no exceptions for rape and incest, which I have a severe problem with. I might be against abortions, but I mean, in those extreme cases, that's the whole point of everything that at least I push for and that I fight for, is that abortions shouldn't be so casual. You shouldn't be able to walk into a clinic and go, take this out of me. No, it should be, you go to this clinic because you have been raped and you're pregnant and you don't want to carry the person who raped you's child with you, or your father was a sick perv and raped you or committed acts of incest with you and you became pregnant. I don't see that as a problem for someone wanting to remove that from their life. It just doesn't seem like that should be that big of an issue. It seems like if you're going to do something about abortions and actually make a law about it, those things would be the exceptions. The things I would consider not to be an exception are, well, I was having sex with my boyfriend and we didn't use a condom, so then I got pregnant. I'm sorry? Now you're pregnant. You don't get a get out of jail free card. It seems like that's what a lot of young women and young men just see abortions as, like a get out of jail free card. Oh, hey, here's my little stamp thing. If you could put another stamp on it for my next abortion. Remember, the fifth one's free. Like it's some kind of discount card type deal. It's nuts. And you have these women who are out there who actually admit that they've had multiple abortions. Some women 5, 10, 15 abortions. It's like, oh my goodness. Could you just, use a condom or birth control or close your legs? That could be a definite possibility instead of actually getting an abortion. Much easier, much cheaper, and you're not killing babies. Now, the measure was enacted on Monday, which is when I'm recording this, so today. But this is going to go up on Tuesday, so Monday. By Republican Governor Phil Bryant, who says he wants the southern state to be the safest place in America for an unborn child. Well, I mean, yeah, you are making it safer, but at the same time, you're also saying that people who are raped and who have been gone through the trauma of an incest type situation, that they can no longer be able to get rid of that baby. Again, it's a very gray area for me because I'm against abortions, but at the same time, if someone's raped, they shouldn't be forced to have someone else's child. Same thing of the incest. They should not be forced to have someone else's child. That's a forceful thing. That person forced themselves upon them, and then they got pregnant from it. You shouldn't have to endure that. It wasn't by choice. Now, when someone gets pregnant by choice, which means they don't use a condom, they don't use a contraceptive of any kind, and it just happens because they were being foolish and dumb, well, then that's their fault. They made that choice. I think that's where the difference needs to come into play, not where a lot of the pro-choice, anti-choice, or whatever. It's the choice of, did you do this on purpose, or did you not? Did you have sex without a contraceptive, a condom, birth control on purpose, knowing full well that it was entirely possible that you could get pregnant? Or were you raped, or was your father or your brother or somebody a sick freak and incest occurred? That's not by choice. That's the difference in my mind. Rape and incest is not a choice. It happens to you. Somebody forces themselves upon you, and you should have the right to not have to bear that person's child. But when you get pregnant because you don't use a condom, that's by choice. You made the choice not to use protection. You made the choice not to do these things in order to avoid getting pregnant. And now you're like, oh, oopsie, I need to go and get my card stamped down at the local baby dumpster. No, that's just not how the world should work. But I'm also very upset by the fact that this governor down south says it's the safest place, but again, has neglected to protect people who have been raped or have gone through the acts of incest and want to not have to be forced to raise that child. So that's just where I'm standing on it at this time. I mean, how can you tell someone that they can't? That's becoming like the biggest problem for me here, is that this governor, I agree with what he's doing, and I agree with the tougher abortion laws, and I agree with the fact that they should be stricter on how they're handled, but I'm very, very frustrated at the fact that he did not include rape and incest in that. And he actually excluded them on purpose. It's like, those are the two biggest reasons for a woman to get an abortion. It's like, where were you making the law stricter then? You know, the only two exceptions to the rule should be rape and incest, no other ones. If you want to put stricter abortion laws in your state, you say nobody can have an abortion unless you've been raped or you have had incest happen to you. It's a very disturbing, a very upsetting thing for me, because I think like I said, it's the two things that I think are the only exceptions to the rule. The only. Because you'll never have a perfect system. You'll never have a perfect system where you can lay down the rules and say, this is, this way and this is this way. It's just not going to happen. And in reality, we all know that everything's not black and white. It's black and white, and then there's a gray zone down the middle. And that's reality. The gray zone is reality. And reality says that you're not going to be able to stop abortions entirely. They're still going to occur, but you can say these are the rules. Only the people who suffer should be able to do this, not people who are just dumb, young, and didn't use a condom. They made their choice. They made their choice not to use protection. These people over here who got raped and had to go through incest, they didn't have a choice. They were forced into a situation, and now they would like help to not have to go suffer through it any longer. I don't see a problem with that. So this governor's whole viewpoint on the whole abortion law thing actually is quite upsetting for me. It's something that, again, I feel passionate about. I'm against abortions. I'm against killing babies. But when someone is raped and in cases of incest, I think it should be allowed. I think it's the only situations where it should be allowed. There are no other situations that logically or consciously or just common sense would say it should be allowed. And those are the two things that this governor decided should not be included. The two things. It's like, what kind of a weird person is this? Where he says that rape victims can't have abortions, but hey, since you didn't use a condom, you can still get an abortion, but a rape victim can't. Since your daddy did this to you, you can't get an abortion. But see that girl over there that didn't take her birth control pill and got knocked up by Mr. Football Star? She can get one still. It's one of those things that I find just highly disturbing and upsetting. This is not okay. This is not right. The two exceptions. And he shuts them down. So I'm just going to say simply that I don't support this. I think that the law should be removed and should be changed. He made a huge mistake. A huge mistake. And now Mississippi is going to become a battleground for this abortion stuff. And then nobody's going to actually be paying attention to the reality of what it should be about. It shouldn't just be, it's not about your body and what you want to do with your body, okay? It's about taking a life or not taking a life. And there's always going to be an exception to the rule. When you say, for people who are very religious, I'm not very religious, but when you say thou shalt not kill, but then you put murderers and rapists and pedophiles to death, you're breaking that rule because you made an exception to the rule. You're saying, I'm not going to kill somebody, but this person was so terrible, we can't let them be on this earth any longer. And that's the same thing with abortion. Abortions are bad, but there's going to be an exception to the rule. There's going to be the gray area. And that gray area is rape and cases of rape and incest. You can't just ignore it. You can't just say, oh, we're going to be over here in the light and the sunshine. It's like, that's not reality. That's not how the world works. And it will never work that way. You'll never be able to get a law passed that completely bans abortion. And the fact that you exclude the two biggest reasons why abortions, people who fight against people like me who are against abortions, is rape and incest. And then the man gets rid of them, but then keeps the other side. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. So Mississippi is about to become a huge mess. I can tell everybody that right now. Alright, well, that does it for me today. If you enjoyed this talk, just let me know. Leave a comment down below. Hit the subscribe button. That would help me out. If there's any topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know as well in comments. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and vice versa. If you'd like to get in contact with me, or people like me, or to watch other people who sound and talk like me and think like me, there is the Conservative Mexican, and there is also the Conservative Latina. They're both on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I would check them out. They seem like pretty awesome people. Alright, so thank you for listening, and remember, we are here, and we are here because we disagree.